kidding. I got a new mic because I got some feedback that my audio quality could be improved with this cute little handheld microphone, which all the influencers are using these days on social media. So excited to jump on the bandwagon and improve my audio quality for you guys, I guess. But yes, say hello to Mr. Mike. I don't know how much of a difference this is gonna make. I think maybe we can do a cool test right now. So this is me speaking with the mic, and let's try it without the mic. This is me speaking without the mic. Ta-da! Apologies, this ain't no mic PR video. Anyways, I took a small hiatus in October, but I'm back now, and I'm here to give a quick recap of everything I read in September. I will say September was a great month of amazing books. There was some quality books this month. First of all, I read a 5-star book. I haven't rated a book 5 stars in quite a while, probably since the spring. And I read 2 of my most anticipated books of the year. And lastly, I just binged one of the books, like completely devoured the book in 2 days. So excited to kind of talk about those books that I read this month and recommend them to you. So with that, I will get started. All right. The first book I read this month was A Man Called Uva, and I got this book back in May when I did that huge book crawl where I bought a ton of books, probably the most books I bought in a month, but I am making a dent in it, so I will say money well spent. Anyways, this is probably a book I was really looking forward to reading this year because my friend Christine recommended it to me while we were shopping together. And then when I saw the reviews online, there's a ton of 5-star reviews for this book. Oh my goodness, it did not disappoint. I totally agree what the internet has to say about this book. I thought Cloud Cuckoo Land was going to be the book that made me cry my eyes out this year, but nope. This one exceeded that in terms of the tear realm. I was quite literally sobbing my eyes out, and I don't think a book has done that to me in a while. Usually I'll shed a few tears, but this one had me literally bawling. Like I was bawling like a little child. It had me torn to shreds, but in a good way. But anyways, what is this book about? So A Man Called Uva follows a grumpy old man named Uva. He is an elderly old man who has strict rules and routines and has a really short fuse. His solitary world is basically turned upside down when a family moves into him next door. And it's a really unforgettable story about love, loss, family, community, and friendship. Behind that like cold exterior is a really kind person. It's just a really heartwarming story where you fall in love with all the characters in the book, and especially the main character. Something I found really interesting was Bachman's ability to interlace tragedy with comedy. There's some pretty dark humor and dark things happening in this book, but I was laughing and crying at the same time. This book really pulled at my heartstrings. Honestly, I love this book from start to finish. I think it's one of those books now that if a friend ever asks me for recommendations, I will point to this book because it was just so beautifully written and the story was so reflective and emotional. It was an amazing experience that I feel like everyone should read and experience the charming, heartwarming story of Uwe. I rated this 5 stars this month, and I will remember this one for a while. A book that was originally not on my fall TBR, but I finally acquired from the library after being in a 500-line queue is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is my 3rd Emily Henry book after Book Lovers and Happy Place. This was quite a funny story. Funny Story follows a woman named Daphne who starts living with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend. Yeah, let that sink in. And if that doesn't make sense, basically, Daphne, our main female protagonist, was engaged to a man named Peter. Peter, on his bachelorette trip, falls in love with his childhood friend Petra. Then Peter leaves Daphne for Petra, and Petra leaves her boyfriend Miles for Peter. At the time Peter and Daphne are living together, Peter kicks out Daphne, and then Daphne has no place to stay, so she asks Petra's ex-boyfriend now, Miles, if she can crash at his place. Hence, it is her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-boyfriend. Crazy premise, am I right? Peter and Petra, the exes in this book, were very hateable, so I really enjoyed just hating them to the brim. Like, who kicks out their fiance in a week after breaking up with them? I don't know, it's messed up. Anyways, this was probably my favorite Emily Henry book out of the 3 I've read. I just really liked how it focused on Daphne and Miles' love story. Happy Place, it really focuses on friendship, and then I think Book Lovers, it focuses on her relationship, the main character's relationship with her sister. But this one was more focused on Daphne and Miles and kind of the interactions that led up to them falling in love. I just really liked how it focused on them only, specifically in their relationship, and also them as individuals growing out of their shells, finding themselves outside of their relationships. It had good drama, it was cute, it had good banter, and there was really good sexual tension. If you're a trope girly or boy, this one has forced proximity, friendship to lovers, and opposites attract. 10 out of 10, one of the best romance books I've read this year in terms of contemporary romance. It did not disappoint as one of my most anticipated reads of this year. I really enjoyed this story. It's just really uplifting and funny and kind of a like light, romantic, nice rom-com read. I really liked it. My second most anticipated read of the year was The City and Its Uncertain Walls by Haruki Murakami. I've been requesting a lot of ARCs, which stands for Advanced Reader Copies, from NetGalley lately, and I was just shocked when I got accepted to read the ARC for this book, because I feel like Haruki Murakami is like this iconic Japanese writer, so I felt blessed to get approved to read this ahead of the November publish date. So this is a book that's already published in Japan, but the English translation is coming out this November, I believe November 9th. This is Murakami's first book in 6-ish years, and if you like Murakami, I think you'll like this book. It had the classic Murakami motifs like mysterious woman, parallel worlds, cats, lonely main character, all of the Murakami-esque things and atmosphere. The City and Its Uncertain Walls is a book that's split into 3 parts, and it starts with our unnamed narrator, who is 17 at the beginning of the book, who falls in love with a 16-year-old girl who claims that she is not her real self and that her true self resides in this imaginary, fantastical, walled-off city. In this imaginary city, there is a clock tower with no hands, there's unicorns that roam the field, and the people there have no shadows. You really question what is real and not real in this book, and it really gets your brain gears turning while you're reading the book, as he's kind of falling between reality and not reality, and so his subconsciousness, it's wild. I feel like so little happened at the same time that so much happened, but overall I really enjoyed the book. I will say though, I probably would have liked it more if I was in the mood for a slow-paced book. This was probably the most slow-paced book that I've read this year, and probably the most slow-paced book that I've read by Haruki Murakami. I was amazed at Murakami's ability to write imaginary, dreamlike places in such vivid detail. It's strangely really weird and mesmerizing, and also his writing is so beautiful in terms of capturing loneliness and longing. This book also really gets you to think about reality, subconsciousness, and imagination, like what is the barrier between those things in our world. So yeah, anyways, really enjoyed this book. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars, and it comes out November 9th if you want to pick it up. I thought it had good kind of spooky vibes, so it is coming out in the fall if you want some slow-paced reading with a mood. It was a mood. It was a mood. It was a fall mood. So yeah, pick it up if you're in that mood. The last book of September was a thrilling one, and that one was The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I feel like I'm pretty late to the bandwagon on this one because I heard this one had a huge following when it came out. This one was recommended to me by a fellow booktuber. Thank you, Marissa, for recommending this like intro beginner thriller book to me as someone who does not normally read thrillers. I thought this was a perfect one for me. It was just spooky enough and had the perfect like page turning addictive quality to it, and it's a who's done's it novel, so it had me glued to the page to kind of find out who did it. The Girl on the Train is told from 3 perspectives, from 3 women. First, it's Rachel, then Anna, and then Megan. I didn't like any of those characters, any of those female characters. They were all batshit crazy, really unlikable, and made terrible decisions, but, you know, hey, it made for some good drama. I will say this one was a little bit more predictable to me than the other thriller I read recently. I don't know if that's just me like becoming a better detective or what, but I did guess who did it towards like the middle-ish, endish. I still enjoyed the flow of the story and how everything turned out. It was a little bit more predictable, but I still really enjoyed it. So if you're not like a typical thriller reader, definitely think you should pick this one up. If you read thrillers often, then maybe it'll disappoint you. For me, I personally really enjoyed it. I didn't read that much this month. I read a total of 4 books. I think it was just a slower reading month for me. I feel like it's the weather and also just some events that I had to attend to. But that's fine. I read amazing quality books. Sometimes it's quality over quantity, am I right? I noticed a interesting theme when I was reading the books this month. I noticed all the narrators or all the characters had some relation to books. So in A Man Called Uva, Uva's wife Sonia loved books, and then in Funny Story, Daphne, she was a librarian, and then in Haruki Murakami's book, the unnamed narrator worked for a book publishing company, and then he became a librarian as well. And then there's no book relation in this one, but 3 out of 4 of the books I read had some relation to books, so I thought that was really coincidental. And the book I'm reading now, which is The 7-Year Slip, the main protagonist, Clementine, she is also in the book industry. So lots of books related to books, but I love it. I feel it feels very, what's the word? Meta? Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. That's September. Now we are entering October, this prime spooky month. I do think I will read more fantasy novels this coming month because that's kind of just what's left on my fall TBR, and what book that my friends chose as the book club book as a month. It's a romantasy. I think it's kind of perfect that I left all the fantasy books for October because of witches and magic. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Maybe I'll see you guys at the end of October with some good fantasy recommendations because I don't read much fantasy as much as I would like to, but yeah. All right, well, thanks for joining me today. Farewell, September. Hello, October. Bye.